we're all more than capable of being triggered by a remark or a comment, and it can be something that has potentially hurt us in our past. It can be something that we're not too sure about within ourselves, something that we're insecure about. However, when someone triggers an emotion within us, it's up to us to recognise that and work on that. With a narcissistic individual, they tend to also get triggered. They tend to receive a narcissistic injury. However, this is when they don't get their own way, when they're not perceived as perfect. They're arrogant enough to believe they're always right. So they don't think they need any guidance from anybody else. They already know everything. They're superior. So even if you just try to help them, they take great offense to this. It triggers that narcissistic injury. And when they're triggered by that narcissistic injury, they go all out to punish you. Now, when we're triggered in some way, we can also hit that, I'm going to get them back. However, more often than not, you don't always feel that great about it afterwards. You might feel very good at the moment when you've got them back. However, they fire something back at you and you end up feeling worse. And it just ends up being that tit for tat. And if it's someone you care about, you often feel bad. You feel remorseful. If it's a complete stranger, you might not give two hoots. It depends on who you are as a person. When it comes to dealing with narcissistic individuals, when they receive that narcissistic injury, they're going to go all out to make you pay. They are going to abuse you emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially, sexually, psychologically. They're going to make you pay. They're going to right the wrong to make themselves feel better about who they are. Therefore, there's several comments that are going to trigger a narcissistic injury. They're going to go into that defensive and they're going to attack back. And one of the first of these is when you say no to anything. If they're asking you of something, but you've already made arrangements with somebody else, and oh, I'm so sorry, I can't help you today. How about tomorrow? How about next week? They have that sense of entitlement. They lack the patience. They turn around to you and say, oh, well, if they're more important to you than I am. They stop talking to people because they're offended that they weren't put first, because they believe they are superior. They believe they're entitled to your time. When you ask a narcissistic individual, what do you love about me? They might just tell you to stop being so stupid, or to grow up. Or they will come out with things that you do for them. They love how you look after their children that potentially aren't your children also from their previous relationship. They love how you fix their car. They love how you cook for them. It's the things you do for them. They don't know the little things about you, about your personality. To love the way you laugh at something, or the way you hide your face, or the way you bite your lip, or the way you go red. They're not interested in those little things about you. They're not interested in your caring nature, only to exploit it. Now, when someone asks, what do you love about them? You can love the things that they do for you also. However, you will love those little quirks within them. We all make mistakes in life. And with some people, you can find them endearing because they're not manipulative or hurtful. When you try and bring something up, hey, can we talk about this? Oh, not right now, I need to get to work. Later on when I get home, hey, can we just go? I've only just walked through the door. Can you just give me 5 minutes? Hey, can we just, I've had a really long day. Hey, it's time to go to bed, I'm tired, perhaps tomorrow. Why do you always have to keep bringing this up? With a narcissistic individual, nothing ever gets resolved with them. And what you potentially think has been resolved with them that caused you pain, they repeat it because they didn't recognise their mistake, they didn't feel remorseful, they don't want to repair the damage, so they repeat it, they bring it into your presence, and they turn around and tell you to get over it already. They accuse you of having trust issues. They can just turn around and say, we've already spoke about this, why do you have to keep dragging up the past? If you ask a narcissistic individual, who are you? They might just turn around and say, who am I? Who are you? Who do you think you are? They're going to switch it straight on to you in order to protect themselves. Now, when someone asks us who we are, we can pause for thought and think about who we are as a person, such as our emotions. Are we happy? Are we genuinely a sad person? Are we a positive person? Do we look on the bright side? Do we tend to go towards negativity and try to pull it in? We can look at ourselves as a person of the things we do for other people, our careers, whether we are a parent. There's so many ways of looking at ourselves and who we are as a person. So we can potentially pause for thought. However, with a narcissistic individual, they just believe that they are superior, and they tend to borrow other people's personalities and other people's dreams. They don't tend to have any long-term goals, and they certainly don't think that they need to answer to you. So they get very offended by this, especially if the sort of reality that they've created, you asking them that question causes that reality gap for who they're trying to sell themselves to be and who they actually are. This is really going to trigger a narcissistic individual. Try and give them a different opinion, a different perspective, a different way of looking at things. They can look out of the window and see two neighbours having a discussion, and one's just over-exaggerated in their expression and their arms are flying around, and they can call you over and say, oh, looks like they're having a fallout, I wonder what they're arguing about. And you can just go over and say, looks like they're just having a conversation. What do you mean they're just having a conversation? And they get incredibly offended that you haven't just automatically agreed with them, that you're not willing to gossip about others with them. They can come to you with a bit of gossip and you can just ask them, is this factual? Does this affect me in any way? Do I gain anything by knowing this knowledge? And they get offended that you're not interested in gossiping with them. They come to you and play the victim. And if you dare to say, what did you do? Which, yes, enablers can do this to victims also. However, victims tend to already be questioning themselves. Narcissistic individuals don't question themselves. They question everybody else. If you have a different opinion to a narcissist, they're going to go all out to humiliate you and belittle you and shame you and make out that something is wrong with your opinion. You'll often notice with a narcissistic individual, they don't take responsibility. Instead, they find a scapegoat to blame. Narcissists don't like being called out on their behaviour. So if you were to dare to say to them, why don't you ever take responsibility? Why is it always somebody else's fault? They're going to get incredibly offended because to them, they're not the problem. And by you not enabling them and supporting them, you're now their problem. And they seek to bring you crashing down so that they can feel better about who they are as a person. Now, with a narcissist, if you're not living life on their terms, if you make plans, they can accuse you of being selfish and stubborn and awkward. If you'd like to do something, they can turn around and claim that not everything is about you, and you often question whether you're being the selfish one. You don't project out onto them. You think, oh, am I being a bit selfish? Am I making it all about me? I'm sure I'm not, but am I? Whereas with a narcissist, if you turn around to them and say, not everything's about you, they believe they're the most important person in the room. To them, everything is about them. How dare you go against them? And they get incredibly offended by this. they can fall silent on you and go and seek out a new source of supply, or they can find a way to bring you crashing down, to make you almost beg for their forgiveness for daring to question their authority over you. There are lots of phrases that trigger a narcissistic individual. Any you notice, please do add those into the comments for people reading through. Thank you very much to all the returning subscribers and your continued support of the channel. It's greatly appreciated. If you are new to the channel, I'm Elizabeth Shaw. This channel is all about narcissistic behaviour, to give you more understanding of the people you might be dealing with within your life, how to handle yourself around those people if you cannot go no contact, and different methods to find what works for you to help you understand and overcome narcissistic and emotional abuse. If you do find the information helpful on the channel, please do subscribe. If you are looking for further help and support in understanding and overcoming narcissistic and emotional abuse, I do have several online guides available, and those teachable links are in the video description. If you're looking for someone to speak to, I have partnered with BetterHelp, and their sponsored link is also in the video description. I do also have several books out on Amazon: 15 Rules to Deal with Narcissistic People If You Cannot Go No Contact, a Narcissists Handbook, which is the ultimate guide to understanding and overcoming narcissistic and emotional abuse, and how to create boundaries around those who have no respect for your boundaries. If you'd like to check those out, they'll be in the description also. Go out there and create the day that you deserve, because you do deserve to have an amazing day. Bye.